Star Fox Zero comes out later this week, and having played it so much for review already, I thought it'd be real cool to go back and analyze all the things that changed with this title from development over to the final product. Star Fox Zero actually started development back on the Nintendo Wii in 2008. Shigeru Miyamoto had gathered a team of developers to experiment with different game ideas for Star Fox. However, after years of experimenting, development on the Wii became stale as the team couldn't really find a good way to utilize the Wii's hardware with their game ideas. It wasn't until the Wii U was actually released that they moved over the project from the Wii over to the Wii U. New ideas began to present themselves in late 2013. Nintendo's EAD firm gathered up the assets from the 2008 projects and began to create what would become Star Fox Zero. Star Fox Zero was revealed by Nintendo at E3 2014 behind closed doors. Members of the press were shown very early gameplay that Nintendo's entertainment analysis and development firm were working on. The tech demos at the time were only about 10 months old and were actually using assets from Star Fox 64 3D from the 3DS. If you actually pay attention to the image that Nintendo showed the Star Fox Zero at E3 2014, you could actually see Falco speaking, and the icon used for this gameplay is straight out of Star Fox 64 3D. If you go ahead and compare this image to the final version of Falco in Star Fox Zero, you can actually see he's missing the earpiece that's in the final game compared to the 3DS game. Alongside Star Fox Zero, Project Guard and Project Giant Robot were revealed using similar gameplay mechanics where players had to use both the TV and the gamepad screen to play. Project Guard would go on to become Star Fox Guard, a tie-in to the Star Fox Zero game but released as a separate title. This was actually hinted way back in 2014 when Miyamoto said in an interview, "One thing I was thinking is that with this Star Fox we may take a different approach, so that rather than one big title we have multiple releases that are connected throughout different missions." So while Project Guard got slightly reskinned and released as Star Fox Guard, there's still no word on what happened to Project Giant Robot. However, I'm going to take a wild guess here and assume that it'll eventually be released as another Star Fox side game starring one of the giant robots in Star Fox Zero, the Gigarilla. Now, Nintendo kept quiet on Star Fox for a while until E3 2015. This is where it became playable to the public in near final form with the name Star Fox Zero rather than the codename Star Fox Wii U. Nintendo also revealed that they had partnered with Platinum Games to finish Star Fox Zero and Project Guard faster. Nintendo's offices were working on level design while Platinum's offices were working on the artwork for the game. However, some Platinum members actually came over to Nintendo's offices to help with the level design and not just solely focus on the artwork. You can actually take a peek on how Miyamoto designed the on-rail sections of the game if you pay attention to the first Star Fox Zero video. Taking a look at the original video, you'll actually see a small piece of paper on the corner of his desk with different routes for a level, showing that he actually developed a lot of the routes on paper like a maze rather than actually just doing them right away on the computer. The public had mixed reactions to this new Star Fox. For one, it looked very much like the original Star Fox 64, which was really good, but also really bad. Many people loved the fact that it was like a spiritual successor to the 64, while others complained that it looked just as old as a PS2 game. The E3 2015 demo featured low-res textures, shadows that were really blurry, and there were hardly any enemies on the screen. The biggest concern were the new motion controls that were mandatory to aim and fly around your R-Wing. I was actually one of those members of the press that was actually not really convinced of the motion controls even after playing the demo. Shigeru Miyamoto addressed the controller concerns in an interview with Time magazine, stating that, "With Star Fox, one thing we're doing is to make the game feel like you're piloting your own aircraft. And so in that sense, probably initially one of the best ways to play is to have it up in front of you, in your line of sight from the TV. But also, as I've been playing Star Fox more and more, what I've noticed is that it gets easier to play the game looking at the TV with the gamepad down. So as you get better, you'll gradually be able to depart from holding it up." Ironically, this is also the reason why Nintendo decided to hold the E3 2014 presentation of Star Fox behind closed doors, where members of the press had a longer chance of playing the game and getting used to the controls. In September 2015, Nintendo announced that they would be delaying Star Fox Zero from November 2015 to the first quarter of 2016. Miyamoto once again addressed the public's concerns in a Facebook post on the official Nintendo Facebook page. "While we have already reached the stage where it would be technically possible to release the title in time for this year, we want to polish the game a bit more so that players will be able to more smoothly grasp the new style of play that we're proposing." On November 12, 2015, Nintendo announced that Star Fox Zero would be released on April 22, 2016. We'd also see some more gameplay of a finalized version of Star Fox in the new Nintendo Direct in March. The gameplay shown in this Nintendo Direct had much better resolution textures and much more enemies on screen at once. It seemed that the delay from November to April went to address a lot of the concerns people had with the E3 2015 demo. Star Fox Zero releases worldwide on the Wii U later this week, and there's plenty of references for fans of the series. The R-Wing Walker returns from the cancelled Star Fox 2 game on the Super Nintendo as a new feature in Star Fox Zero. Scanning in the Fox amiibo lets you use the original R-Wing design from Star Fox on the Super Nintendo, and lastly, since Star Fox Zero is essentially a reimagining of Star Fox 64 with some slight changes, A lot of the quotes and cinematics therefore from 64 are actually brought back in this new game. And that pretty much wraps it up for the development of Star Fox Zero, a pretty interesting story of a game that almost was 8 years in the making. Let me know what you found most interesting in the comment section below, and if there's another game you'd like to see me do on Beta Zone. I actually thought it was pretty interesting that this game started development on the Nintendo Wii in 2008. So around the time Smash Bros. Brawl came out, Miyamoto was already thinking of what to do with Star Fox, so it's been a long time coming. As always, all my social networks and gaming usernames are in the description below. I also stream every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 4 PM Pacific Standard Time on YouTube Gaming, so be sure to come by. Thank you all very much for watching the video, and I'll catch you all in the next one. Later.